Alex Martinez stood on the bridge of his ship and looked out at the stars. His hands were steady, but his heart was beating fast. After 6 months of traveling through space, they had finally reached their destination. The planet below them was beautiful. It had purple oceans and silver cities that sparkled like diamonds. "Captain, we're getting a message from the planet," said Lisa Brooks. She was his second in command and his best friend. They had served together for 10 years. "Put it on the main screen," Alex said. The screen lit up and showed a woman unlike anything Alex had ever seen. She was tall and thin, with skin that looked like glass. Light moved through her skin in waves of blue and green. Crystal spikes grew from her shoulders and back, and they glowed softly. Her eyes were large and silver, and when she looked at Alex, he felt like she could see into his mind. "I am Queen Vexithera of the Zephyrian Empire," she said. Her voice was like music, but there was power in it. "Welcome to Veltara Prime, humans. We have been waiting for you." Alex stepped forward. "Your Majesty, I am Captain Alex Martinez of the Earth ship Starbound Horizon. We come in peace, seeking friendship between our peoples." The Queen smiled, and her skin turned a warm gold color. "Friendship, yes. There is much we can teach each other. Please, bring your ship to our main city. We will welcome you as honored guests." 2 hours later, Alex and his team stood in a great hall made of crystal. The walls were smooth and clear, and strange lights danced inside them. The air smelled like flowers and something electric that made Alex's nose tingle. Dr. Maya Patel, the team's scientist, was taking notes on everything she saw. "The technology here is incredible," she whispered to Alex. "These crystals seem to store and move energy in ways we don't understand." The Queen entered the hall with a group of other Zephyrians. They all moved like dancers, smooth and graceful. Alex noticed that the Queen was bigger than the others, and the crystals on her back were brighter. "Captain Martinez," the Queen said, "let me introduce my daughter, Princess Lirana." A young Zephyrian woman stepped forward. She was smaller than her mother, but just as beautiful. Her skin was pale blue with silver lines that moved like water. Her crystals were pink and purple, and they hummed softly when she moved. She looked at Alex with interest, and her skin turned a deep red color. "So this is a human male," Princess Lirana said. She walked around Alex, studying him like he was a curious animal. "How strange. You have no crystals, no light in your skin. Yet there is something interesting about you." Alex felt uncomfortable but tried to stay polite. "It's an honor to meet you, Princess." The princess laughed, and the sound was like bells ringing. "Oh, you are polite. I like that. Tell me, Captain, how strong are humans? I have heard stories." "We do our best," Alex said simply. Queen Vexthara clapped her hands, and the sound echoed through the hall. "Come, let us feast together. We have much to discuss." The great hall filled with Zephyrians, all coming to see the humans. They whispered to each other in their musical language, and their skin colors changed as they talked. Alex could feel them watching him and his team. The feast was strange. The food looked like jewels and tasted like nothing Alex had ever eaten before. Some dishes were sweet, others were bitter, and a few made his mouth feel cold. The Zephyrians ate very little, just touching the food to their lips. "You eat so much," Princess Lirana said, sitting next to Alex. "It's amusing. We get most of our energy from light and crystals." "Different species, different needs," Alex said. During the meal, Queen Vexithara told them about the Zephyrian Empire. "We are old," she said. "When your species was learning to make fire, we were already traveling between stars. We have brought order to this part of space. Many younger species have joined us and found peace under our protection." "Protection from what?" Lisa asked. "From themselves, mostly," the Queen said with a smile. "Young species often make mistakes. They fight wars, destroy their planets, waste resources. We help them avoid such problems." Dr. Maya asked, "How many species are part of your empire?" 47. "At last count," the Queen said proudly. "Each one has found their place in our great civilization. They contribute what they can and receive our guidance in return." Alex noticed something in the Queen's voice when she said, "guidance." It sounded more like control to him. After the feast, the humans were given rooms in the Crystal Palace. Alex's room was beautiful but strange. The walls glowed with soft light, and the bed felt like floating on water. Lisa came to his room later that night. "What do you think of all this?" she asked. "I'm not sure yet," Alex said. "They seem friendly, but something feels off. Did you notice how they talked about the other species? Like they were children who needed watching." "I noticed that too. And the way the princess looks at you." Alex had noticed that as well. Princess Lirana's eyes had followed him all evening. Every time he looked her way, she would smile and her skin would turn red or pink. "Dr. Maya is worried too," Lisa said. "She says the technology gap between us and them is huge. If they wanted to, they could probably destroy Earth without much effort." "Then we need to be very careful," Alex said. "We're here to make friends, not enemies." The next morning, Alex was awakened by soft music. He looked out his window and saw Princess Lirana in the garden below. She was singing, and her voice made the crystal flowers around her glow brighter. When she saw him watching, she waved and smiled. At breakfast, Queen Vexthara seemed very happy. "Today, we will show you our city," she said. "You will see how we live, how we work. Perhaps you will understand why so many species choose to join us." As they toured the city, Alex was amazed by what he saw. The buildings reached into the clouds and flying vehicles moved silently through the air. Zephyrians worked together in perfect harmony, never arguing or fighting. Everything was clean and beautiful. But Alex also noticed something else. In the HFY streets, he saw other species working. They were smaller than the Zephyrians and wore simple clothes. They kept their heads down and spoke only when spoken to. "Who are they?" Alex asked, pointing to a group of small, furry beings cleaning the streets. "The Kelvins," Princess Lirana said. "They joined us 50 years ago. They're very good at maintenance work." Alex watched as a Zephyrian gave orders to the Kelvins. They bowed low and hurried to obey. It reminded him of something from Earth's history that made him uncomfortable. "They seem happy," he said carefully. "Of course they are," the princess said. "We take care of all their needs. They never have to worry about food, shelter, or making difficult decisions. It's a good life." That evening, there was another feast. This time, even more Zephyrians came to see the humans. Alex felt like he was on display at a zoo. The questions they asked were polite but strange. "Do all humans fight as much as we've heard?" one asked. "Is it true that you actually enjoy pain?" asked another. "We heard you once fought wars with weapons that could destroy whole cities. How barbaric, but also fascinating." Alex answered as best he could, but he began to understand that the Zephyrians saw humans as violent and primitive, but also potentially useful. As the night went on, Princess Lirana moved closer to Alex. Her crystals glowed brighter, and her skin shifted through many colors. "Tomorrow," she said softly, "I want to show you something special, just the two of us." Queen Vexithara overheard and smiled. "An excellent idea, my daughter. Captain Martinez, you should feel honored. Lirana rarely takes such interest in visitors." Alex looked at his team. Dr. Maya seemed worried and Lisa was frowning. But they were guests here, and he didn't want to be rude. "I would be honored, Princess," he said. As the humans returned to their rooms that night, Alex couldn't shake the feeling that something big was coming. The way the Queen and Princess looked at him, the questions about human fighting ability, the careful way they talked about their allies, it all pointed to something more than simple friendship. He stood at his window, looking out at the alien city below. Tomorrow, he would learn what the Zephyrians really wanted from humanity. He had a feeling it was going to change everything. The next morning, Princess Lirana came to get Alex early. She wore a flowing dress that looked like it was made of liquid silver. Her crystals were bright pink, and she seemed excited about something. "Come, Captain," she said. "I want to show you the heart of our city." They walked through streets made of smooth crystal. Alex noticed that all the other species they passed stopped what they were doing and bowed when they saw the princess. She barely looked at them. "Don't you ever talk to them?" Alex asked, nodding toward a group of small, blue-skinned workers. "Talk to them? Why would I?" The princess seemed confused. "They have their work. I have mine. We each serve the Empire in our own way." They came to a huge building in the center of the city. It was shaped like a crystal mountain, and light poured from every surface. Inside, the walls were covered with moving pictures that showed the history of the Zephyrian Empire. "This is where it all began," Princess Lirana said proudly. 3,000 years ago, my ancestors first learned to travel between stars. We found so many worlds, so many species that needed our help. Alex watched the pictures on the walls. They showed Zephyrian ships arriving at different planets. The local species would fight at first, but then they would kneel and accept Zephyrian rule. The pictures made it look peaceful and happy, but Alex wondered what really happened during those conquests. "Your people have built something amazing," Alex said carefully. The princess moved closer to him. Her skin turned deep red, and her crystals hummed softly. "Yes, but we want to build something even greater. That's why you're here, Captain." "I don't understand." Princess Lirana touched his arm with her long, thin fingers. "Humans are different from the other species we've met. You fight even when you can't win. You keep going when others would give up. We've been watching your world for years, studying your wars, your struggles. It's exciting." Alex felt a chill run down his back. "You've been watching us?" "Of course. We watch all potential allies, but humans are special. The way you survived that plague 20 years ago, how you rebuilt after the asteroid impact, your amazing ability to work together in a crisis. It's exactly what our empire needs." They walked deeper into the building. The princess showed him rooms full of crystal computers and Zephyrians working with strange technology. Everyone stopped and bowed when they saw the princess. "What exactly does your empire need from us?" Alex asked. The princess stopped walking and turned to face him. Her eyes were bright, and her skin was cycling through colors quickly. Warriors, captain, leaders. Your species has something we've lost over the centuries. You have fire in your hearts. And you want us to fight for you? With us, she corrected. As partners, as family. They spent the rest of the day touring the city. The princess showed him schools where young Zephyrians learned about art and science. She showed him factories where other species built amazing machines. She showed him gardens where rare plants from 100 worlds grew together. It was all very impressive. But Alex noticed things that bothered him. The non-Zephyrian workers lived in smaller, simpler buildings. They ate different food and wore plain clothes. When they spoke, it was always in quiet voices, and they never looked directly at any Zephyrian. "Princess," Alex said as they walked through a market, "the other species here, are they free to leave if they want?" The princess laughed. "Leave? Why would they want to leave? We give them everything they need. They're safe, fed, housed, and protected. What more could they want? But if they wanted to—" "Captain, you're thinking like a primitive species. Freedom is dangerous. Freedom leads to war, chaos, suffering. We've brought order to the galaxy. These species are happier now than they ever were on their own." That evening, there was the biggest feast yet. The great hall was packed with Zephyrians, all dressed in their finest clothes. Their crystals filled the room with soft, beautiful light. Alex and his team sat at the high table with Queen Vexithara and Princess Lyrana. The queen stood up, and everyone fell silent. "Tonight, we celebrate a new chapter in our empire's history," she said. Her voice carried to every corner of the huge room. "For the first time in 1,000 years, we have found a species that truly interests us." The crowd of Zephyrians made a sound like singing. Their crystals pulsed with the same rhythm. "Humans," the queen continued, "are not like the others. They are warriors, survivors, leaders. They have something we value greatly, the ability to fight against impossible odds and win." Alex felt uncomfortable as hundreds of silver eyes turned to look at him. Dr. Maya was taking notes frantically, and Lisa was watching the exits. "That is why," Queen Vexithara said, her voice rising, "I am pleased to announce a new alliance between our peoples, an alliance that will be sealed by marriage between my daughter, Princess Lyrana, and Captain Alex Martinez." The hall erupted in celebration. The Zephyrians sang and their crystals blazed with light, but Alex sat frozen in his chair. Marriage? No one had asked him about marriage. Princess Lyrana stood up beside him. Her skin was golden with excitement, and she raised her hands for silence. "Captain Martinez," she said in a voice everyone could hear, "will you accept this honor? Will you join our family and help lead our empire into a glorious future?" Alex looked around the room. Every face was watching him, waiting for his answer. His team looked shocked. Dr. Maya was shaking her head slightly, and Lisa's hand was near. Her weapon. "Your Majesty," Alex said slowly, standing up, "this is unexpected. May I have some time to consider such an important decision?" The room went quiet. The queen's skin color shifted to a cooler blue, and Princess Lyrana looked confused. "Consider?" the princess said. "What is there to consider? This is the greatest honor we could offer. You would become part of the royal family. Your species would be elevated far above their current status." "I understand the honor," Alex said, choosing his words carefully. "But humans have customs about marriage. I would need to discuss this with my people." Queen Vexithara smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Of course. Take all the time you need, Captain. A few days should be sufficient." The feast continued, but the mood had changed. The Zephyrians talked among themselves in low voices, and Alex caught them staring at him. Princess Lirana sat close to him, but she seemed upset that he hadn't immediately said yes. "I don't understand your hesitation," she said quietly. "Do you find me unattractive?" "No, Princess. You're very beautiful," Alex said honestly. "It's just that humans like to choose their own partners. Marriage is complicated for us." "Complicated how?" Alex thought about how to explain. "We believe marriage should be based on love and friendship, not politics." The princess looked even more confused. "But this is both. We could learn to love each other, and the political benefits are obvious. Your species would gain protection, technology, and status. Our empire would gain your strength and courage. Everyone wins." After the feast, Alex met with his team in his room. Dr. Maya was pacing back and forth, and Lisa was checking their communication equipment. "This is bad, Alex," Dr. Maya said. "They don't want an alliance. They want to own us. Did you see how they talked about the other species? Those aren't allies, they're slaves." "Comfortable slaves," Lisa added, "but slaves all the same." "And now they want to add humans to their collection," Dr. Maya continued. "The marriage isn't about love or even politics. It's about control. If you marry the princess, you become part of their royal family, but you also become subject to their laws and customs." Alex sat on his strange, floating bed. "I know. I saw the same things you did. But we're guests here, and they could destroy our ship without breaking a sweat. We need to be very careful about how we handle this." "What are you going to tell them?" Lisa asked. "I don't know yet. I need to learn more about what they really want from humanity." The next day, Princess Lirana took Alex to meet with Queen Vexithara in her private chambers. The room was smaller than the great halls, but just as beautiful. Crystal formations grew from the walls like trees, and soft light filled every corner. "Captain," the Queen said, "I hope you've had time to think about our proposal." "I have, Your Majesty. But I still have questions." The Queen gestured for him to sit. "Ask whatever you wish. What would happen to Earth if I accepted? What would happen to humanity?" "Earth would become a protected world under our empire," the Queen said. "Humans would be given important positions in our military and government. You have natural leadership, abilities that would be very valuable to us. And humans who didn't want to join your empire," the Queen's expression didn't change. "Why wouldn't they want to join? We offer peace, prosperity, and protection. No more wars, no more hunger, no more fear. What rational being would refuse such gifts? But if they did refuse, Captain, you worry too much about hypothetical problems. In 3,000 years, we have never encountered a species that wasn't happier after joining us." Princess Lirana moved to sit beside Alex. "My love," she said, and the words made Alex uncomfortable. "You think too much like a soldier, always looking for problems and threats. But there are no threats here, only opportunities. I've noticed that humans are the first species you've wanted to marry into your royal family," Alex said. "Why is that?" The Queen and Princess exchanged a look. "Because humans are special." Alex woke up early the next morning with a plan. Before he gave his answer, he needed to see more of what the Zephyrian Empire really was. He found Dr. Maya in the dining hall, picking at a breakfast that looked like glowing fruit. "Maya, I need you to do something for me today," he said quietly. While I'm with the royal family, I want you to talk to some of the other species here. Find out what their lives are really like." Dr. Maya nodded. "I was thinking the same thing. Something about this place doesn't feel right. Be careful. Don't let the Zephyrians know what you're doing." That morning, Princess Liarana took Alex to see the military academy. Young Zephyrians trained with weapons made of crystallized light. They moved like dancers, but Alex could see the deadly skill in their movements. "Beautiful, aren't they?" the princess said. "But we haven't had a real war in 500 years. Peace is wonderful, but it makes warriors soft. That's another reason we need humans in our bloodline." They watched as the students practiced against training robots. The robots were designed to look like different alien species, and Alex recognized some of them from the workers he'd seen around the city. "Those robots," Alex said, pointing, "they look like your allied species." "Oh, yes," the princess said casually. "We keep the training programs updated. You never know when one of the subject species might have issues with their place in the empire." Issues. Rebellions, mostly. Some species take longer to accept the benefits of our rule. But we always solve the problem quickly and peacefully. Alex felt sick. "How often do these rebellions happen?" "Not very often anymore. Maybe once every few years. The Vorthon tried to leave our protection about 10 years ago. Silly creatures. They thought they could govern themselves better than we could govern them. What happened to them?" Princess Liarana's skin shifted to a cool blue color. "We helped them understand their mistake. Now they're much happier and more productive." After the academy, they visited a factory where several different species worked together to build Zephyrian technology. Alex watched carefully and noticed something disturbing. The Zephyrians gave orders, but they never worked with their hands. All the actual labor was done by other species. "Don't Zephyrians ever do manual work?" Alex asked. "Why would we?" The princess seemed confused by the question. "We have evolved beyond such things. Our minds are meant for higher purposes: art, science, governance. The other species are much better suited for physical labor." "What if one of them wanted to be a scientist or an artist?" "That would be inefficient. Each species has their strengths. The Kelvins are good at maintenance, the Rothans are excellent miners, the Deltans make wonderful servants. Why would we waste time teaching them things they're not naturally good at?" Alex was beginning to understand the Zephyrian system. It wasn't just that other species were ruled by the Zephyrians. They were bred and trained for specific roles, like livestock. The thought made him angry, but he kept his feelings hidden. Meanwhile, Dr. Maya was having her own disturbing discoveries. She had managed to talk to a small furry creature called a Kelvan, while the Zephyrians weren't watching. "Please, you must. Speak quietly," the Kelvan whispered. "If they hear us talking about forbidden things—" "What forbidden things?" Maya asked. "The old days, before the tall ones came, we had cities, art, music. We chose our own leaders and made our own decisions. What happened to all that?" The Kelvan's big eyes filled with tears. "Gone. They said it was primitive and wasteful. They gave us simple work and simple homes. They said we would be happier. But my grandmother remembers when we were free." Dr. Maya learned that the Kelvan species had once been traders and explorers. They had built beautiful cities and created amazing art. But the Zephyrians decided that Kelvans were naturally suited for maintenance work, so that was all they were allowed to do now. "Do any of your people remember the old ways?" Maya asked. "Some, but we are not allowed to teach them to our children. The tall ones say it would only make us unhappy to remember what we cannot have. Dr. Maya also talked to a blue-skinned Rothan who worked in the crystal gardens. The Rothan told her about their homeworld, which had been strip-mined to provide crystals for the Zephyrian Empire. Nothing grows there now, the Rothan said sadly. My people live in domes and breathe artificial air. But the tall ones say we should be grateful. They could have let us die when our world became poisoned. Poisoned by who? Maya asked, though she already suspected the answer. By the mining, of course. But that was not the tall ones' fault. They needed the crystals for the good of the Empire. The pattern was becoming clear. The Zephyrians would arrive at a world, conquer it, strip away everything valuable, and then convince the survivors that they should be grateful for the privilege of serving their conquerors. That afternoon, Alex was invited to a private meeting with Queen Vex Thara. Her chambers were even more impressive than before, with crystal formations that seemed to sing in harmony. Captain, the Queen said, I hope you have had time to appreciate what we are offering. I have seen much, Your Majesty, but I still have concerns about what this alliance would mean for humanity. The Queen's skin shifted to a patient blue color. What concerns? The other species in your empire, they seem to have lost something important. Their freedom to choose their own paths. Captain, freedom is an illusion that primitive species cling to. True happiness comes from knowing your place and fulfilling your purpose. We have given each species in our empire a purpose that matches their natural abilities. But what if their natural abilities include more than just manual labor? What if they want to create art, or explore space, or govern themselves? The Queen looked at Alex like he was a child asking silly questions. Such desires lead only to chaos and suffering. Look at your own species, Captain. How many wars have you fought? How many of your people have died because of your obsession with freedom and choice? Alex thought about human history. It was true that humans had fought many wars and made many mistakes. But they had also created beautiful art, amazing technology, and systems of government that tried to balance freedom with order. We've made mistakes, Alex admitted. But we've also accomplished great things because we were free to try. And you could accomplish even greater things with our guidance, the Queen said. Captain, I am offering you and your species a chance to skip thousands of years of painful trial and error. Why would you choose struggle when you could have peace? Because the struggle is what makes us human. The Queen stared at him for a long moment. I do not understand this obsession with difficulty. No other species has ever expressed such ideas. Maybe that's because you've never given them the chance. That evening, Alex met with his team in secret. Dr. Maya reported what she had learned from the other species, and Lisa had been monitoring Zephyrian communications. They're not just allies, Maya said. They're prisoners. Every single species in this empire has been stripped of their culture, their history, their right to choose their own future. And it gets worse, Lisa added. I've been picking up military communications. There are 3 species right now that are being pacified for causing trouble. One planet is under complete lockdown because they tried to declare independence. Alex felt a cold anger growing in his chest. They're not offering us an alliance. They're offering us a cage. A very comfortable cage, Maya said, but still a cage. And if you marry the princess, you become the key that unlocks humanity's future. But that future would be chosen by them, not us. So what do we do? Lisa asked. If we refuse, they might decide that humans are too dangerous to leave alone. Alex thought about the beautiful, peaceful city outside their window. He thought about Princess Lirana, who genuinely believed she was offering him something wonderful. He thought about Queen Vexithara, who saw other species as children who needed guidance. "We tell them the truth," he said finally. "We tell them why humans can't accept their offer." "That's dangerous, Alex," Lisa warned. "They have enough firepower to glass Earth before we could warn anyone." "Maybe. But if we accept their offer, Earth becomes just another planet in their empire. Humans become just another species serving Zephyrian interests. Our children would grow up believing that freedom is dangerous and that choosing your own path is selfish." Dr. Maya nodded slowly. "You're right. If we say yes, we lose everything that makes us human. If we say no, we at least die as ourselves." "I don't think they'll kill us," Alex said. "They need us too much. But I think they'll try to force us to accept." Lisa checked her weapon. "Then we better be ready for anything." The next morning, Princess Lirana came to escort Alex to the Great Hall. She was more beautiful than ever, her crystals glowing bright pink and her skin shifting through warm colors. "Today is the day," she said happily. "I can hardly wait to hear your answer." "Princess," Alex said, "before I give my answer, can I ask you something?" "Of course, my love." "Do you know what happened to the Kelvins before they joined your empire?" Her expression became confused. "What do you mean? They've always been maintenance workers. That's what they're good at." "But before that, before the Zephyrians arrived on their world, I don't know. Mother says the historical records from primitive species are unreliable. Why does it matter? They're happy now." The Great Hall stayed silent for what felt like forever. Queen Vexithara stared at Alex like he had just spoken in a language she didn't understand. Princess Lirana's skin had turned completely white, and her crystals were flickering between colors rapidly. "Captain Martinez," the Queen said slowly, "perhaps you don't fully understand what you are refusing. This is not just a marriage proposal. This is an invitation to elevate your entire species." "I understand perfectly, Your Majesty," Alex replied, "and that's exactly why I must refuse." Princess Lirana suddenly stood up, her crystals blazing, bright red. "No!" she shouted. "You can't refuse. Do you know what you're throwing away?" The Zephyrians in the hall began to murmur among themselves. Their skin colors shifted through confused blues and angry reds. Alex could feel their shock, like a physical weight in the air. "Princess," Alex said gently, "I mean no disrespect to you personally. You are beautiful, intelligent, and kind in your own way. But I cannot accept what you're offering." "Why?" she demanded, stepping down from the royal platform. "What is wrong with peace? What is wrong with prosperity? What is wrong with never having to struggle again?" Alex looked around the hall at all the confused, angry faces. Then he began to speak, his voice carrying clearly through the crystal chamber. "Because struggle is what makes us grow," he said. "Because peace without choice is not peace at all. It's surrender. Because prosperity that comes from enslaving others is built on a foundation of lies." The murmuring in the hall grew louder. Some Zephyrians looked angry, others seemed confused. Alex continued. "Your Majesty, I have seen your empire. I have talked to your allied species. They are not allies. They are prisoners. You have taken away their freedom to choose their own paths, their right to succeed or fail on their own terms." Queen Vexithara's skin turned a cold, dark blue. "Those species are happier now than they ever were before we helped them." "Are they?" Alex challenged. "Or have you just convinced them that happiness means accepting whatever you tell them is good for them?" Dr. Maya stepped forward from behind Alex. Your Majesty, I spoke with several of your allied species yesterday. They remember what they used to be. The Kelvins were once traders and explorers. The Rothans were artists and philosophers. You turned them into maintenance workers and miners because it served your empire's needs. That is enough. Princess Lyrana shrieked. Her crystals were blazing so bright that some Zephyrians had to look away. You don't understand anything. We saved those species from themselves. You destroyed their cultures, Alex said firmly. You erased their histories. You told their children that their grandparents' dreams were worthless. The princess raised her hand, and Alex felt something trying to push into his mind. It was stronger than before. She was trying to force him to see things her way. But Alex had spent years training his mind for combat situations. He had learned to stay focused under pressure, to resist fear and confusion. Her mental attack felt like someone trying to convince him that the sky was purple when he could clearly see it was blue. Stop, he said, pushing back against her mental intrusion. Don't try to control my thoughts. Princess Lyrana's eyes went wide with shock. How are you resisting me? No primitive species should be able to... Because I choose to resist, Alex said. Because I believe my own thoughts are my own business. Queen Vexathara stood up from her throne. She was tall and imposing, and her crystals were glowing like small suns. Captain Martinez, I think you have been influenced by malcontents among our allied species. You are making a terrible mistake. The only mistake would be condemning my species to the same fate as theirs. And what fate is that? The Queen demanded. Alex gestured to the Zephyrians around them. To become servants in someone else's empire. To lose the right to make our own choices, even if those choices are wrong. To have our children grow up believing that freedom is dangerous and independence is selfish. Freedom is dangerous. Princess Lyrana shouted. Independence is selfish. Look at your own history, all the wars, all the suffering, all the death. We can save you from all of that. And in return, we give up everything that makes us human, Alex replied. You want to save us from making mistakes, but mistakes are how we learn. You want to save us from struggle, but struggle is how we grow, stronger. You want to save us from ourselves, but ourselves are all we have. Lisa stepped up beside Alex. Your Majesty, humans believe that it's better to fail as free people than to succeed as slaves. Even if that failure means your destruction? The Queen asked. Even then, Alex said without hesitation. The Queen stared at him for a long moment. Then she began to laugh. It was not a pleasant sound. It was cold and bitter. You are insane, she said finally. Absolutely insane. No rational species would choose hardship over comfort, struggle over security, uncertainty over order. Then I guess humans aren't rational, Alex said with a slight smile. Princess Lyrana suddenly grabbed Alex's arm. Her touch was warm, but her crystals were pulsing with angry energy. You're being foolish. I'm offering you everything. Power, technology, a place in the royal family. Your children could rule worlds. Children who would never know that there was any other choice, Alex said, gently removing her hand from his arm. Children who would grow up believing that other species exist only to serve their needs. What's wrong with that, if it brings peace? Alex looked into her beautiful alien eyes and realized that she honestly couldn't understand. She had been raised to believe that Zephyrian rule was not just beneficial, but inevitable. The idea that other species might want to choose their own paths was literally incomprehensible to her. "Princess," he said sadly, "the peace you're talking about is the peace of the graveyard. You've buried the dreams and hopes of 47 species and called it order. We gave them better dreams. No, you gave them your dreams, and now you want to give us yours too." The hall was in chaos now. Zephyrians were arguing among themselves, their skin colors flashing through the entire spectrum. Some seemed angry, others confused, and a few looked almost thoughtful. Queen Vexithara raised her hand, and silence fell immediately. "Captain Martinez," she said in a voice like winter, "you are making a decision that will affect not just yourself, but your entire species. Are you certain you have the right to choose for all of humanity?" It was a good question, and Alex had wrestled with it during his sleepless nights. "No, Your Majesty, I don't have that right. But I have the right to speak for myself and the duty to speak for my crew. And what I'm saying is that humans deserve the chance to make their own choice, even if they choose wrongly, especially if they choose wrongly. Because a wrong choice that's freely made is better than a right choice that's forced upon them." "Princess," Lyrina was crying now, tears that looked like liquid crystal running down her face. "I don't understand you," she whispered. "I offered you everything and you're throwing it away for nothing." "Not for nothing," Alex said gently. "For the chance to remain ourselves." Dr. Maya stepped forward again. "Your Majesty, may I ask you something?" The Queen nodded stiffly. "In 3,000 years of building your empire, has any species ever refused your protection?" "Of course not. Only a mad species would refuse such benefits." "Or," Dr. Maya said quietly, "only a species that valued something more than comfort and safety." "There is nothing more important than comfort and safety," Princess Lyrina cried. "There is to us," Alex said. "And that's why we can't join your empire. We're not asking you to understand our choice, Your Majesty. We're just asking you to respect it." Queen Vexithara was quiet for a long time. Her skin cycled through several colors: blue for confusion, red for anger, purple for deep thought. Finally, she spoke. "In all my centuries of life," she said slowly, "I have never encountered anything like this. You are refusing paradise for the right to create your own hell. If that's how you see it, yes. And nothing I can say will change your mind." Alex thought about everything he had seen. The beautiful cities, the advanced technology, the peaceful order. He thought about Princess Lyrana's genuine offer of love and status. He thought about the easy life humanity could have as part of the Zephyrian Empire. Then he thought about the Kelvan who remembered freedom, about the Rothan whose world had been strip-mined, about all the species who had traded their dreams for security. "Nothing, Your Majesty." The Queen's crystals suddenly blazed with brilliant light. "Then you are fools," she said harshly. "And you will regret this decision when your species destroys itself without our guidance." "Maybe," Alex admitted, "but it will be our choice to make that mistake." Princess Lyrina suddenly stepped forward, her crystals pulsing with desperate energy. "Wait," she said. What if we tried something different? What if humans could join the Empire but keep some of their independence?" Queen Vexithara looked at her daughter with surprise. "Lyrina, what are you suggesting?" "I don't know," the princess said, looking confused. "But if Captain Martinez is right, If struggle and choice are really important to humans, then maybe we could find a way to give them both security and freedom. Impossible, the Queen said firmly. Freedom leads to chaos. You cannot have order and chaos at the same time. But Mother, what if we're wrong? What if there's something we can learn from humans? The walk back to their ship was tense. Zephyrian guards surrounded Alex and his team, their crystal weapons humming with energy. The beautiful city looked different now, less like paradise and more like a beautiful prison. "Captain," Lisa whispered, "our sensors are picking up Zephyrian warships moving into position around our vessel." "How many?" Alex asked quietly. "At least 12. Each one could probably destroy us without breaking a sweat." Dr. Maya was walking beside them, her scientific equipment recording everything. "Alex, I'm picking up some strange energy readings from the palace. It's like they're having some kind of massive argument." When they reached the star-bound horizon, Alex was surprised to see Ambassador Kira Dahl waiting for them. The elderly Zephyrian looked troubled, her skin a worried gray color. "Captain Martinez," she said formally, "I have been sent to ensure your safe departure." "Thank you, Ambassador," Alex replied. "I'm sorry things didn't work out better." Kira Dahl glanced at the guards, then stepped closer to Alex. "Captain, may I speak with you privately for a moment?" The head guard looked uncertain but nodded. Kira Dahl led Alex a few steps away from the others. "Captain," she said quietly, "what you did in there, it has never happened before. In 3,000 years, no species has ever refused our protection. I gathered that from everyone's reaction." "You don't understand," Kira Dahl continued. Some of us have been wondering for a long time if our way is the only way. But to question the Empire has always been unthinkable." Alex studied the ambassador's face. "And now Princess Lirana is asking questions that have never been asked. And Queen Vexithara doesn't know how to answer them." Kira Dahl paused, then added, "Captain, you may have started something that will change our empire forever. Is that good or bad? I don't know. But for the first time in centuries, I feel curious about what might happen." The ambassador handed Alex a small crystal device. "This is a communication beacon. If humanity ever needs to contact us, if circumstances change, you can use this." Alex pocketed the device. "Thank you, Ambassador." "No, Captain. Thank you. You have given us something we haven't had in a very long time. Doubt. And doubt is the beginning of wisdom." An hour later, the star-bound horizon was ready to depart. Alex stood on the bridge looking down at the beautiful crystal city one last time. Part of him wondered if he had made the right choice. The Zephyrians could have given humanity amazing technology, protection from other threats, and an easy life among the stars. But then he thought about the Kelvan who remembered freedom, and he knew he had chosen correctly. "Captain," Lisa reported, "we're being hailed by the royal palace." "Put it through." Princess Lirana appeared on the screen. She looked different somehow, less confident, more thoughtful. Her skin was a pale blue color that Alex hadn't seen before. "Captain Martinez," she said formally, "I wanted to speak with you before you departed." "Of course, Princess. I have been thinking about our conversations, about choice and freedom and struggle. I still don't understand why you would choose hardship over comfort, but—" She paused, seeming to struggle with her words. "But I find myself wondering what it would be like to make that choice. To choose something difficult because it was my choice to make." Alex smiled sadly. "Princess, I hope someday you get the chance to find out." Perhaps I will, she said quietly. Then, more formally, Captain, my mother has ordered me to give you a warning. If humanity causes trouble in this sector of space, if you interfere with our allies or spread your ideas about freedom and independence, we will stop you. I understand. But, the princess added, her voice dropping to almost a whisper, I personally hope that you prove us wrong about everything. The communication ended and Alex ordered the ship to depart. As they pulled away from Veltara Prime, the Zephyrian warships followed them to the edge of the system but didn't attack. The journey back to Earth took 6 months. During that time, Alex wrote detailed reports about everything they had seen and learned. The Zephyrian Empire was powerful, advanced, and potentially dangerous. But it was also showing signs of internal conflict for the first time in millennia. Dr. Maya spent the journey analyzing the cultural and technological information they had gathered. Alex, she said one day, I think we did more than just avoid becoming slaves. I think we may have planted a seed that could change their entire civilization. How do you figure that? Princess Lirana wasn't the only one asking questions when we left. I recorded at least a dozen Zephyrians in that hall who seemed confused by our choice. They've never encountered a species that valued freedom over security. It's making them question their most basic assumptions. When they finally reached Earth, Alex was called before the World Council to report on the mission. The council chamber was packed with representatives from every nation, all eager to hear about humanity's first contact with an alien empire. Alex told them everything. The beauty of Zephyrian civilization, the advanced technology, the offer of protection and alliance. But he also told them about the price, the complete surrender of human independence. Captain Martinez, asked the Secretary General, do you believe you made the right choice for all humanity? Alex thought carefully before answering. Madam Secretary General, I made the only choice I could make as a human being. I chose freedom over comfort, struggle over surrender, uncertainty over a guaranteed future as someone else's servants. And if this decision leads to war with the Zephyrians, then we'll face that war as free people making our own choices, not as slaves fighting our masters' battles. The council voted to support Alex's decision. Humanity would continue to explore space on their own terms, ready to face whatever challenges awaited them among the stars. 3 years later, Alex was commanding a new exploration ship when they received a message through the quantum communication network. It was encoded with Zephyrian technology, but sent from an unknown location. When they decoded it, Alex was amazed to see Ambassador Kiradal's face on the screen. Captain Martinez, she said, I hope this message finds you well. I wanted you to know that your visit to our empire has had consequences. The ambassador looked older, but there was something in her eyes that Alex hadn't seen before. Hope. Princess Lirana has been asking questions about our allied species. She has been studying their histories, the parts we thought were safely forgotten. She has begun to wonder if we have been helping them or harming them. Kiradal paused, then continued. 3 of our allied species have requested permission to govern themselves more independently. The princess has convinced her mother to grant limited self-rule to one of them as an experiment. Alex felt a surge of excitement. It's working, he whispered to his crew. But that is not all, the ambassador continued. There are rumors that some young Zephyrians are questioning whether our empire should continue to expand. They are asking if there might be other ways to bring peace to the galaxy. The message ended with coordinates and a simple request. If humanity is willing, the princess would like to meet again, not as conqueror and conquered, but as equals seeking to understand each other. Alex looked at his crew, Lisa, Dr. Maya, and several new officers who had joined them for their latest mission. "Well?" he asked. "Should we answer?" "The Zephyrians are still much more powerful than us," Lisa pointed out. "This could be a trap. Or it could be the beginning of something new," Dr. Maya countered. "A chance to prove that different species can coexist without one dominating the others." Alex thought about Princess Lirana, who had started asking questions, because one human had said no to her empire. He thought about all the species in Zephyrian space who might someday have the chance to choose their own paths. "Set course for the coordinates," he ordered, "but go in ready for anything." As their ship turned toward Zephyrian space, Alex reflected on how strange life could be. 3 years ago, he had rejected an alien princess and possibly started a war. Now, that same princess might be the key to a new kind of peace. He had chosen the difficult path, the uncertain path, the path that required struggle and sacrifice. But it was humanity's path, chosen freely and followed with determination, and maybe, just maybe, it would lead to something better than anything the galaxy had seen before, not the peace of submission, but the peace of mutual respect between free peoples. The stars ahead looked brighter somehow, full of possibilities that no empire could control or contain. Alex smiled and settled in for the long journey ahead, knowing that whatever they found at their destination, they would face it as humans, free, stubborn, and unafraid to choose their own future among the stars. In the end, that was all any species could ask for: the right to succeed or fail on their own terms, the freedom to choose their own path through the vast darkness of space, and the courage to keep moving forward even when the way ahead was uncertain. It was the most human thing of all to choose hope over security, growth over comfort, and freedom over any cage, no matter how beautiful or secure it might be. The starbound horizon jumped to hyperspace, carrying humanity's answer to the stars. We will find our own way. Thank you very much, and we will help anyone else who wants to do the same. Behind them, Earth continued its slow rotation, a small blue world whose